So there is chaos erupting in Los Angeles now as we speak. It's started over the weekend, and it's a reaction to the Trump deportation efforts that have been taking place. We all knew this was coming, but not to this extent. I think LA is just a microcosm of what could unfold across the country if Trump and the administration allows it to happen. My name is Brandon Fogal. This is Evolution. Let's dive into this heated topic, as you could say. So my gut reaction was Donald Trump, President Trump, do not let 2020 happen all over again. And I think he is immediately responding to what he knows could be detrimental to his presidency if chaos erupts. He was the president of law and order, and he's the president of getting our economy up and running and going in the right direction. And if he allows 2020 to happen again, if we easily forget the summer of love that happened back then, which that was something that really struck me as why is Trump allowing this to happen? It was in the election year. There was COVID happening. There was so much going on. So maybe they weren't thinking right. It was so much uncharted territory. But now we've seen it. We've seen what can happen and what will happen if there is not a strong response from the government. And he's already sent in the National Guard. He's deploying Marines are getting ready to land on the ground and basically try to fix this and settle this. But if Marines get involved, it's not let's just stay here and let's kind of kumbaya and let's get along. Let's talk through this. Marines they're sent in. Whenever they are sent in, it's to go in, get the job done, and get out. So Marines going in, that is something that, like, I know there's still some red tape that's got to go through to actually this to happen. And the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, he is up in arms, going to do his, funny Hollywood take. He is the perfect person of, if a camera's on, I got to be a politician. He is the pinnacle of a politician, and just saying things you don't know what really to believe. I've always actually liked Gavin Newsom myself, but you don't really know what you're getting with the guy. He's handsome. All right, I wanted to switch over and take what Michael Malice said on Tim Pool's show last night regarding this. And Tim was like, Trump needs to squelch this quickly. He needs to, because what the Mexican president is saying and responding to this, and almost just heating up the fire. Tim was like, he needs to squelch this quickly. But Michael is like, no, he needs to respond to what the Mexican president has just said, because she's just issued that people need to be sticking with these illegal aliens that are just tearing the U.S. apart. But she's saying that people need to stick with them and get behind them. This is almost, if the government of Mexico is doing this, this could actually creep into invasion and almost a signal of war, her doing this. Trump doesn't need to immediately just put his thumb down and just, unleash hell on what's happening there. But he needs to say something in a response and almost put her on the hot seat. But let's hear what Michael Malice said. It was very intriguing. It really stood out to me.
I think before he goes to 10, he should let this play out. Because was that Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste?
Yeah.
These optics are playing very well for the Republicans, because the big swing demographic in elections is Karen. It's white suburban women. And white suburban women do not like rioting. They do not like people flying foreign flags. They don't like, they just worry about the gross.
Agreed. Let me clarify. The next direct granular move Trump makes is coming out and saying, I am shocked to hear the president of Mexico calling for an escalation of riots in this country to protect her citizens who are illegally in our country.
That's the move, yes.
That's the move. And then, of course,
you can always go up, but you can't go down.
When he needs to use the military to remove criminal illegal aliens in this country, she just gave him the pretext under the Alien Enemies Act.
So that is a perfect point, because it's easy to be a hothead. And if you would think about Trump, you think he's a hothead. He's not a hothead at all. He's a cool, He's cool as a cucumber, cool as the other side of the pillow kind of guy, even though he plays kind of a crazy guy sometimes in front of the cameras. He is very settled and measured in the decisions he makes. J.D. Vance made it clear. He said, I'm more of a hothead than him. Trump is the guy that is going to be calm in whatever situation. He is the guy at the table who you don't know his cards. You don't know what he's thinking, but he's not going to just impulsively react, even though everybody paints him like that. And if you just looked at him, you would think that, but he's not really like that. Michael Malice made a very good point, which is reminding of the Emmanuel, whatever that guy is, the Chicago guy who said, never let a good crisis go to waste. I know you want to fix the problems, but it's like they're still in Washington. They're still politicians. They still got to get reelected. Trump doesn't need to get reelected, but if he wants to keep the Republicans in power come 2020, next 2 years, whenever they all do all that in the next cycle, if he wants to keep them in power, these type of things are what's going to, the pictures, the images are going to be emblazoned on people's minds. And so he needs to call out the president of Mexico, because everybody might not have heard this. What she said, she is saying to stick with these people. She's not just saying let the people in the United States figure out their own issues, but she's saying stand with these people that are rioting, that are doing these protests because those are her people. Those are her people over there. Which you got to pick a side in a situation. If you're in America and you come to America, don't be flying a Mexican or any other country's flags. Why would you be doing that? Like, we are a melting pot. If you come into America, become American. We can have pride in our history of where we came from, but if people are flying other countries' flags in here, that is very shocking to me. Very shocking to me, because that is almost like literal war. When we're talking about flags being planted in the ground, you see, I think of the movie Glory or any war movies, like the person that's marching through and carrying the flag, that gets to deep issues. People can say we can burn the American flag, and that's a whole debate in itself. That's freedom of speech. But if we're talking about another country trying to plant flags in our country, this comes to the issue of sovereignty. This comes to the issue of sovereignty, and that's really what it boils down to. Because if we allow other countries to just bend us over and just take advantage and do whatever the heck they want over us, we are not going to have any sovereignty. We are not going to have any power of ourselves, and we will crumble as a nation eventually. And I know that the people out in LA, there's going to be most of them are probably just college students or just kids out there that just want to, get some selfies in front of the riots and just have fun and just throw bricks at cops and all this and try to just destroy things. It's a fun thing to do, I guess. I guess they like to do that. They just want to have fun, and it's the place to go. And if the weather goes bad, then they're going to probably, let's dip, let's get out of here. But but those people, the people that don't know at all what's actually happening, they're just useless, pawns, and the people that are higher up that are orchestrating this, because it's not just going to be LA, it's across the country that this is happening. This is across the country. This is probably just where it's being ignited at. In the more liberal cities like, in New York and all those, they're going to try to start something. And as we get into the more summer months and it's nicer weather, they're going to use people that don't know what's happening, that are just standing around, and just rile them up to get them to do something crazy, But if Trump wants to just squeeze as much out of this as possible, he can, because this does not look good for the Democrats if they are pushing this and wanting it to happen, because the mandate was that the last 4 years when Biden just let everybody in, the pendulum has swung and Trump is reacting. The Republicans are reacting. Half the country is reacting and saying, we can't allow this. We can't allow just other people from other countries to just kill our children. If that actually happened to you, you would be on the front line to remove this and to get this out of here. Illegal aliens doing that, When that happens, I know there's a lot of good people everywhere, But if that actually happened to you and a gang member's coming into our country and just did something to you or your family, it would change your outlook. It would change your view on everything. And it's like, why are we allowing this? People that are just unvetted in our country, there has to be a process. There has to be a process for anything. And just to clean up the streets, I know that this could unfold in many different ways. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. But when it does get extremely crazy, which it could, this could just be, I hope this just simmers out and just kind of nothing really happens of it. But it doesn't seem like that is the case, because people are seeing their family members be removed from this country, and in Democrat heavily populated places like that, they're going to react just massively against it. And it could get a lot worse before it gets better. But I think everybody needs to be aware of what's going on. So if you've enjoyed this video, hit this link, and I will see you all on the other side.